Well, hello. I'm Tommy Murray, and I'm gonna start talking about the band, the first band, for me anyway, Rawness, and it's been 30 years now since that whole thing happened. So just wanted to commemorate that. So anyways, I met Damon Ossipik in 1985, and we met, believe it or not, in church. His family and my family went to the same church at that time, and the church was Good Shepherd Catholic Church, I believe, and it was in Shawnee, Kansas. So we went to the same church, and every week, once a week, there was like a Bible study class after school, after a normal school day, and we were in the same, Damon and I were in the same Bible study class, or whatever you want to call it. And somehow, I don't remember how this came out, but the two of us discovered that we both were really, really big fans of the band Kiss. And like I said, I don't remember how that even came out, but once we did figure that out, we kind of immediately bonded through that. And we were just 10 years old at the time in 1985, so number one, it was kind of odd, or not odd, but maybe not very common for 10-year-old kids, well, at least in 1985, to be big Kiss fans. There weren't many of our peers, at school that were into Kiss, but we were. And so we became friends, through that. But at the time, Damon and we did not go to the same school, same elementary school. I went to Apache, and I think he went to Bonjour. I might be wrong on that, but we didn't go to the same school. We lived in completely different. We lived in different cities, actually. I lived in Lenexa, and I think he lived in Shawnee. So we didn't live by each other. We didn't go to the same school. So the only time we saw each other was at church once a week. And I remember he let me borrow a couple of Kiss tapes on cassette, albums that I didn't already have, and I always thought that was really cool of him to do that, to let me borrow that. And obviously, it's kind of funny saying that, because there was no file sharing or MP3s or any of that. The internet. Again, we're talking 1985. So, in order for friends to share music, you actually had to hand over a physical tape to somebody. So, anyways, just let you know how old we are. So we were friends. We became friends, and for some reason, I don't remember why, my family stopped going to church, and because of that, like I said, Damon and I didn't go to the same school or anything. Because we stopped going to church, I didn't see Damon anymore, and I didn't even know where he lived actually. But like I said, he lived in a completely other town than I did. So once we stopped going to church, and I didn't see Damon anymore. That was kind of it, and I was bummed out because, like I said, there weren't a lot of peers of mine at school that had the same interests as I did. Basically, no one. Damon was like this one and only sort of person that I ever knew in my life that was the same age as me, that liked Kiss like I did and liked music like I did. So to have to be kind of go our separate ways then was a drag. So time went on, and I kind of forgot about him, honestly. And so I guess 3 years later, now it's 1988, and I'm in 8th grade. In middle school, I'm going to Westridge Middle School, and it's the first day of 8th grade, and actually the last class of the day, 8th hour, 7th hour, whatever it was, however it was, I don't remember, but so the class ends, it's time to go home. I get up, to leave the class, and this blonde kid kind of stopped me before I left and said to me, "Hey, do you remember me?" And I honestly didn't. Didn't recognize him, didn't know who he was at first. And then he says to me, "I'm Damon Ossipik. Remember we went to church together and all that." And then it was like, wow, I was very surprised to see him, glad to see him. And so, because I guess his family had moved. I guess they lived in Lenexa at that time. They had moved. So, a few years before, he lived in a different town, went to a different school. Now he's living in the same town as me, and not only are we in the same middle school now, but we have the same class together. So we were kind of reunited, and it was cool. Like I said, I was glad to see him, and for all the reasons I was talking about before, that we were just totally had the same interest in music and bands, and that was big. So so from that point, for the rest of the school year, we were hanging out. We had the one class together, but I'm sure I'm sure we ate lunch together. We would hang out at school. And then a little later in the fall of that school year, it would have been November of 1988. It's when Damon's birthday is. He invited me to kind of celebrate his birthday, go out with his family and have dinner and kind of hang out and for his birthday. So I went, and I remember we went to. I remember actually where we went to eat. We had dinner at Houlihan's over there. I think it was across from Oak Park Mall, or it was somewhere. I don't remember exactly. It was by Oak Park Mall. I don't know. It might even still be there. I don't even know. But so we had dinner there at Houlihan's, and after dinner, went back to Damon's house, and I don't know if he. I really don't think he had ever mentioned it to me before. But when we got back to his house, he said he wanted to show me his guitar, and I didn't know that he had a guitar. Number one, so he had this little black electric guitar, and he plugged it in. So not only he had an electric guitar, but then he starts playing, and he starts playing these Kiss songs. And I remember I was completely just amazed. Now, at the time, we're just kids. So, but as you mature and progress and as a musician and whatever, you realize, playing Kiss songs isn't like this real high standard or high level of whatever. Some of it is, some of it can be. I mean, let's be fair, but just the fact that he could play anything, I couldn't believe it. So, once that happened, I mean, immediately I'm saying, okay, we got to put a band, we got to do a band, and he was into it. He was all for it. Now, I'm saying we got to put a band together, and I don't do anything. I didn't play anything at that time. I didn't start playing guitar yet, and my bright idea was, well, I'm not going to play anything, but I'm the singer then, which even then I had no idea what it meant to sing. To actually sing, I had no idea what I was doing, but I wanted to be in a band, and I wanted the band to include Damon. Me and Damon be in this band together. So that was the start of it. Now the thing was. We didn't know, between the two of us, we didn't know anyone else who played anything. I mean, we were talking about doing a rock band. So you need you need a guitar player, check, Damon. You need a singer, and you need a drummer, and you need a bass player. And we didn't know anybody who played anything at all, let alone drums specifically or bass. But so we had no idea. I mean, the whole band thing was like this sort of dream of ours, I guess. But we didn't know how to make it happen. So what ended up happening, just to sort of wrap this segment up, Damon and I would get together at his house, you know, and he would play, and I would sing. I remember we'd be in his room, he would play, and I would sing, and we would just kind of practice, you know, like that. But there was no band, and we didn't know how to get the band going. But as kind of fate would have it, it wouldn't be long until that whole situation came to fruition. So that'll be in the next part. So thanks for watching.